Hello there, and welcome back to another Minecraft showcase. Again, unedited because I'm still trying to edit the other videos, and I don't want to get, stuck and caught behind is the word I'm looking for. I don't want to get behind on it. But I just wanted to show this off. Basically, everything I've ever built in Minecraft in terms of Redstone has been either, Minecraft specific. So like farms and stuff, things that you would only do in Minecraft, or it's been components, so little pieces that you would put together to make something, but they didn't actually perform any serious function on their own. So I decided to try my hand at making a Minecraft computer. And of course I'm not nearly at the level where I can start doing full computers. So instead I just started small with an analog calculator. This can only do addition and subtraction, but it can do either one. It can only do with two numbers. It doesn't have much memory. It only has two numbers worth of memory. It is analog, so it doesn't do it with binary addition or anything. It just does it based on signal strength. But yeah. Ooh, I am missing a little thing here. There we go. So basically, you come here and you see all the numbers from 0 to 9. 0 to 15, all the possible values of a redstone signal. And then you've got plus or minus. The reason this is out here is just because by the time I got around to implementing minus, the wiring in the back became so compact that I just had no room for it back there, so I just brought it around. And then the clear all to clear everything if you're done, or between operations or whatever. So let me show you how this works. Oh, and then of course the equal sign to get your result. So, as a demonstration, let's say 4. And then these two lights tell you when a number has been stored. So when I press 4, it's the first number that's been stored. If I go 4 plus, let's go with 6, right, which is 10, but now it says the second number has been stored. Right, so 4 plus 6 is 10, right? So now both numbers have been stored. I press equals, and the result is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The result is 10. So it added properly. And now if we come over here and clear, everything gets reset. Everything goes out. And now we'll try subtraction. So we'll do 10 minus, I don't know, 10 minus 2, which is 8. So both numbers have been locked in. We equals. So now we have the result, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, you can go back and clear and do whatever addition or subtraction you want. Again, obviously since it's analog, it is restricted by redstone signal strength, so it's clamped between 0 and 15 for all inputs, as well as all the possible results. So if your result is less than 0 or more than 15, it'll just be clamped and show 0 or 15 instead. But otherwise, everything in that range works. Most Minecraft computers use binary, because then you can get much higher numbers, and it's not limited by redstone signal strength. But I just wanted to see if I could do it analog, because I recently did a tutorial on analog addition, and I don't know if I put that up yet. It may or may not be up on YouTube. If not, it's still in the editing queue, but it will be up at some point. And so I figured, if I have analog addition, why not just try to make an analog calculator? Because obviously analog subtraction is just a comparator pointing into each other, so why not make a calculator? Obviously, if I wanted to do like multiplication, I suppose it would be repeated addition and then subtracting from a counter. It would be possible. Maybe I'll do that another time. I'll do a separate one for multiplication and division. But for now, addition and subtraction, analog redstone calculator. So now, I don't know if I really want to explain how this works, because as you can see, the wiring in the back is spaghetti. it's messy. But I'm going to try to explain it, and if I see that it's getting too hard to explain and show, then maybe I'll just end the video prematurely, but yeah. So let's start with the inputs, because that's the easiest part. When you press a button here on the keypad, all it's doing is lighting up this row. And don't worry about that, that doesn't matter, that's later. All it's doing is worrying about this row. And so the closer you are to here, the stronger this dust signal strength will be. So right behind here is the button for 15. When you press that, this will be 15 signal strength, right? But then if you press it over here, it'll be lower by exactly the amount of blocks that you moved. So that's how this inputs the values. And then it takes that value from a comparator here, and it passes that value, if I can get out of my own wiring, it passes that value through this block into this redstone. And then this redstone splits off. Now initially, we only want to store the value into one memory cell and not the second, because we want two different numbers stored here. So we're using pistons for that. So right now this piston is down, so this signal won't go anywhere. But this piston is up. All the sand, by the way, is where there's a piston pushing up and down. I could have used a sticky piston, but I didn't want to deal with bud issues if it ever happened, where like the block itself would power the piston underneath. So I just put a regular block underneath and then sand, because it's a gravity block. So yeah, so we've got this piston down, this piston up. That stops the signal from going here, but it allows the signal to come through here. Now because I'm using these comparators everywhere and no repeaters, and I'm never giving it more than one dot of dust at a time, the signal strength is maintained from the input all the way around into here. When it comes into here, it goes into this block, which just maintains the signal strength into here. Now this might look familiar as a memory cell. Basically, in case you missed that video about my what I had as a latched memory, so the signal strength comes in here, gets pushed into this block. That goes over here because it just gets transmitted because it's strongly powered, and then that goes through this comparator and powers this block to the same power, and then it loops. So it becomes a loop and it stores the same power. So even after your input shuts off over here, this will maintain its same power, and it will remember what your input was, so what value to store. So that's that. And then when you press either plus or minus, either one, it goes down below ground. Let's see if I can get in here. There we go. It comes down below ground, and it comes down here, and this right here, these two torches and this, is a latch. Now what a latch is that if I power this, right, then this torch will turn off. If this torch turns off, then this turns off. When this turns off, that torch turns on, which powers this again. So again, it's a feedback loop where if this turns on, this will stay on and this will stay off. But if I power this, this torch turns off, and you get the same kind of cycle except in reverse. So if I power this, this will stay on, and if I power this, then this will stay on, right? So I can switch it back and forth. So when you press either plus or minus, it comes down here, and then it turns this off. And so what we have here is this basically just goes into all the pistons that are up by default. And so when this gets turned off, all of these pistons retract. And that's this piston, and there's other pistons. Basically all the pistons on this side. Oh, there's a creeper. I apparently didn't light this place up enough. 1 second, just so that doesn't happen again. Peaceful. Huh. A new snapshot moved all the options for realms notifications. Anyway, right. So yeah, so basically when you do either plus or minus, it retracts all of the pistons on this side. Not that one, but this one. There's one above this block, and then there's one above this block. And those all get retracted. And also, in addition to that, we have this right here, which is inverting that signal. So that means when this turns on and these all turn off and those retract, this will turn back on as well, and that will actually power the other pistons. So, and then this will, this will be retracted by default. When that happens, it'll power and it'll extend, and that also happens over here. So, if I can get out of here, I can show you what that is on the surface. Okay. So what that means is everywhere that the sand is up, it will go down and break a circuit. Everywhere that it's down, it will go up and it'll complete a circuit. So that means this drops, which breaks the circuit to the first memory cell, but this extends, which completes the circuit to the second memory cell. So the next time you press an input button on the keypad, it'll come around here and it'll store it in the second memory cell, which is wired up exactly the same as the first. And so that's how I'm allowing you to switch between memory cells, so you can store memory at different locations so that you can store two different numbers. Is like that. And then as for 0, you can't really store 0. So instead, what I do is I come here, and this is where the 0 is. It just gets full blast into here, and this is a reset circuit, which comes in, and if you are on the first memory location, this will be extended so that the signal can come in through here, and then it gets amplified by this repeater and goes into this comparator of the memory cell, which subtracts 15, which goes down to 0, and shuts off the memory. So it clears this memory and marks it as a 0. And then if you look over here, the reset comes over here. If you're on the first memory cell, this is retracted, so it doesn't matter. It won't get through. But if you're on the second memory cell, then it will be extended. The signal will go through, get picked up by this repeater, and then clear out the second memory cell. So that's how all the input works and how it switches from one memory location to the other when you press plus or minus. Now we come to the difficult part. Well, I guess I could show you another easy part first. We'll do the difficult part last. So we have the clear button here. The way that works is the first thing it does is it comes down here and clears this latch. Because like I said, when you press plus or minus, it's going to power this. So then when you press clear, it's going to power this to depower that, because that's how the latch works. So that means it'll reset. Oop, can't fly. Fly. So it'll reset all of those pistons back to the initial setup with the first memory cell being selected. But it will also send a signal out through here, and that repeater is there just to extend the signal, because that's pretty far distance. Like I said, spaghetti wiring. And this repeater is there not just to extend it, but also to delay it a little bit, because we want to make sure this piston is completely retracted before we do this piston. Because if we extend this piston while that one's still up, it's going to push the sand to the side and break the whole thing. So we give it a little bit of delay so that the piston can retract, and then once the piston retracts, this piston extends, and this piston pushes out this block. Now what this block does is it powers the reset signal over here, which after we've reset, we're back at the first memory location, so this will be extended and it'll clear that memory location. But it also comes in and directly powers the reset over here, not needing to go through that piston. And that clears this. So both memory locations get cleared when you press clear all, which makes sense. And then it comes over here, and I think the only thing it does over here is it comes up and resets this latch. So I've got this latch here. It's a little different layout than the latch below, but it's still a latch. So these two will power opposite each other. So if you power the top, it'll stay on. If you power the bottom, it'll stay on. So you can see here the bottom's powered and the top is not. This is the subtraction or addition. So this is the mode latch. When the top is on, it means we're in subtract mode. When the bottom is on, it means we're in addition mode. And so the way this system works is it by default is addition, and then when you press plus, it just moves to the second memory location. But if you press minus, it'll move to the second memory location with those pistons, but it'll also reset this latch, or I guess set this latch. I guess that's kind of arbitrary, but it'll turn this top part on, and that turns it into subtraction mode. And then when you clear, you want it to go back to the default, so it comes up here through this line and goes into here to clear this latch and reset it. And now I guess the hard parts are the actual work. So I'll show you the math, and then I'll show you how it determines how to deal with subtraction mode and addition mode. So the math is fairly simple. The subtraction is just right somewhere in all this spaghetti. Right here? No, right here. So this is where the subtraction happens, and all this is it's taking the value from the first memory location that's stored in this right here. This is the memory, the first memory cell, and it's taking that value from this redstone dust, because it's powering the block, which will power the redstone dust to the same level, and it's just carrying that value over to here. And this comparator is in subtract mode. And then we take the value from the second memory cell, which is right here, if I can do a little, yeah, right here, and that will get pushed by this comparator into this redstone, which then, because it's a dot of redstone, this block gets the same power, and then this comparator will push that power through here, and then it just basically continues and carries the signal all the way through to here. And so it becomes the memory cell or the value in the first memory cell minus, because this is in subtract mode, the value in the second memory cell. So that's how the subtraction is done. And now how we get it into the output when you press equals is a little more complicated, but basically that output, so the subtracted value, is, so basically the subtracted value and the added value are constantly being calculated. They're just not output until you press equals. So the subtracted value gets pushed over here and then carried by these comparators over to here, and then, if I can get around, and then out to here, and then it points this way. And there's nothing here, so that doesn't do anything. And this, by the way, if I can get in there, these two comparators, the redstone dust, the blocks, looks familiar because it is another memory cell. This is the output memory cell. This stores the output when you press equals, and then this comparator just sends that output, well, this line of comparators sends that output along here. So yeah. But yeah, so the subtraction is, this is the subtracted value at any given time. Right now it's 0 because I've cleared it, but this is the subtracted value. It looks like it's going into nothing, because it is, but when you press the equal sign and you're in subtract mode, this piston will extend, which will put this block in the way of the comparator. So the comparator will push the value into the block over here, and since it's strongly powered, that value will be transmitted to this redstone, which is part of the memory latch. And so that stores the subtracted value. And then outputs it. And the reason it has to store an output is because, so if I didn't store it first, if I just output it, it would constantly be outputting as you're entering values. So if I enter the first value of 7, 7 minus 0 is 7, and 7 plus 0 is 7. So no matter what mode I'm in, it would show 7 here, which is not what you want, because you don't want that to be anything but the output. So instead, we have this store the output, and we don't actually pass the output into this memory cell until you press equals. So yeah. So again, if you're in subtract mode and you press equals, what happens is this. So the equal sign is back here. So you press equals, and then it gets inverted here. And then, like I said, if this is powered, this is in subtraction mode. So this is the inversion of being in subtracted mode. So this is, and that gets put in here. And then, so they're both inverted. And then the result over all that redstone gets inverted again. And that is an AND gate. So an AND gate, you take two inputs, invert them both, and then combine those inputs and then invert that result. And that gives you an AND. So that's what I did here. So what this is saying is if you are in subtract mode and you press the equal sign, then it pulses over here. I did have to put this little pulse extender here, which just makes the pulse a little longer after it stops. It fades out instead of just shutting off. And that has to do with the way I am resetting the values down here. Because if I just put this straight down, whatever value was there before might interfere with it. If it was greater than it, it won't actually add, so I have to clear it first. And that actually comes in over here, which, let's see how I do that with the equal sign. Basically, there you go, maybe I can fit in there. Yeah. So when you press the equal sign, in addition to looking at that subtraction and putting the value there, it also comes down here and then comes around to here, and it comes up here. I'll show you that in a second. That has to do with the addition. So it comes up here, which I can't actually get into. I've closed it off pretty well, but that is the output reset signal. So it comes up in here, comes up under this slab, and then comes into this repeater, which goes into this comparator. And this comparator, again, is part of this memory cell. So that'll reset the memory cell and clear it. So what we need is for the button to clear the output cell first, which it does, and then after it's clear, it needs to get this value, the subtracted value, which means this has to be extended after this is clear. And because of the repeaters in here, that's actually not like one tick, it's several ticks, because I needed the repeaters to extend the signal. So that's what this does, is it keeps this subtracted value powered in here until after this is already reset, so that when this turns off and this is no longer being reset, it then picks up the subtracted value and then it retracts. Now in my latched analog memory video, I had something like this, but I used an ABBA circuit. I couldn't really use an ABBA circuit because by the time I got around to this, well, spaghetti. So instead of an ABBA circuit, I just extended this pulse a little longer, and it works out. So that's for the subtraction. So if you're still watching this video and you're interested, I'll now talk about the addition and how the addition works. Yikes. So one of the things I want to mention first, because this is easier, is when you press equals, it comes down here. It also comes into not only the reset here, but it also comes into here on a slight delay. And what's over here is a piston, and this either closes or opens the circuit, basically that connects the addition circuit to the output memory. So if you're in, so this right here is the line that's coming all the way up from that latch up there for subtraction mode. So when you're in subtraction mode, this will be on, right? And that'll power, or that'll come into here, that'll power this repeater, and it'll subtract 15, which will shut off this circuit. So that's why we put a little bit of delay here, just in case. But it gives it time to come through here. So when you press the subtraction button and it switches it to subtract mode, it cuts this off so that this will never run. So this, we already saw before that the subtracted value piston only extends through that AND gate where you have to be in subtract mode. So we don't have to worry about that triggering if you're not in subtract mode, but we do have to worry about this triggering if you are in subtract mode, and that's why we have this, so that if you're in subtract mode, it just cuts the signal off right here. Instead of using an AND gate, we just shut it off. But if you're not in subtract mode, then you're in add mode, because those are the only two modes. So then it comes down, it doesn't power this, and that allows the signal through. So when you press equals, sorry, when you press equals, it clears the output memory, and then with a delay so that it will last a little bit longer, it extends this piston, which closes the circuit between the addition circuit and the output memory, and that makes the output memory hold the sum of the two numbers instead of anything else. And so then the last thing is, what is the addition circuit itself? See if I can get in here. Yeah. Okay. So this is the comparator that holds the output of the addition. So this will always have the sum of those two memory circuits being output here. So this piston, like I said, when you are not in subtract mode and you press equals, this piston will extend, which will allow that value through, and it will go into the output memory cell, which is right there. And so how do we actually do the addition? We do it with subtraction. Yeah. So again, I don't know if my tutorial video for how to make an addition circuit has gone out yet, but if it hasn't, or if you just haven't watched it, I guess, I will try to explain. So basically, this takes your first input, so from the first memory cell, well, this is actually the second, but addition is cumulative, so it doesn't matter which order you do it in. So it takes the second memory value and subtracts it from 15, and then passes that value over here. And then we subtract from that the first memory value. So we have 15 minus A minus B. And then we take the result of that and subtract it from 15. So if I remember, I will try to put a equation or a math expression on the screen right now, so it might be clearer than me trying to explain it, but basically it's 15 minus the quantity, 15 minus A minus B. So it only uses subtraction, but if you do that math, it ends up equaling A plus B. And so, yeah. Actually, here, I'll write it down. So it's 15 minus A minus B. So 15 minus A, here's the 15 minus values minus value 0, so we have 15 minus A. And then minus B, because that result comes in here, and then we subtract B, which is the second value, or I guess the first value. And then, after that's evaluated, because the parentheses, then it's 15 minus that, because it's 15 minus the result of that. And if we do this math, we just, first thing we notice is that we don't need these parentheses, because it's all subtraction. And then we can distribute the negative sign, so we get 15 minus 15 plus A plus B. 15 minus 15 is 0, so we get A plus B. So yeah, a little bit of math lets you do addition by only using subtraction. And so that is the addition circuit. When that extends, it goes into the output and then shows up in the output. And then the only thing to realize is that, no, actually I think that's it. I think I've just explained the whole thing. All of this spaghetti wiring to do that. I'm sure if I would have done stuff a little more regularly, maybe color-coded it. It might have looked a little better, but whatever. Yeah, so that is how I made an analog calculator that can add and subtract analog values, under the limits of Redstone in Minecraft. Yeah, I didn't look at anyone's designs for this. I just someone helped me out with the math on the addition circuit, just because I was drawing a complete blank for whatever reason. They helped me out with the math, and then, like I've said, this memory circuit is not my design, but it's kind of simple. Everything else I did myself and put together, so yeah. Until next time. Well, actually, wait. Before I sign off, if any of you guys are interested in this kind of stuff, let me know, and I can, it'll give me a reason to post more of these kinds of videos, because I do this kind of stuff all the time, maybe not to this scale, but I play around and make new things with Redstone, and I don't always post them unless I think it's something worth a tutorial, or if it's a command block thing that really changes the world, or not changes the world, but like changes your Minecraft world, like the locked chests and stuff. Don't worry about that. It's something I'm working on. So yeah, if you guys like this kind of stuff with these massive contraptions, let me know, and I'll post them more often. And just comment below. If you don't, comment that as well, so I know not to. Do it nicely, please, though. And I'm probably, if I do make another massive build like this, it's going to be multiplication and subtraction. Because it'll be really interesting for me to figure out how, to make an addition loop and subtract. And did I say multiplication and subtraction? I meant multiplication and division. But to make an addition or subtraction loop work is going to be interesting to me. So I'm probably going to do it anyway, but just let me know if you want me to post it or not once I'm done. Yeah, so until next time, keep calculating and keep redstoning.